it's gone.
So this is like a fun mini segue, but Layla had a bunch of dudes who were always hollering, right? And like even on like her birthday, I think she got like 2 gifts from other dudes. You know what I mean? And we were like together, and I was like, what? I was like, you know that they're like, they're just friends. And I was like, they are not friends. I was like, they were trying to fuck you. Like, and she was like, no, they're just friends. I was like, guys are not going to be friends with girls to be friends with them. I was like, if they want to have a friend, they'll go find a guy. Like, and they'll be like, why are they going to go pretend to be interested in what you're like? That's not what it is. And so this was like an ongoing, like not in a malicious way, but it was like almost like a joke throughout like the early days before we got married. The day she changed her marital status, all of them defriended her. And I was like, just saying. You know what I mean?
Like defriended, unfollowed. Yeah.
Yeah, they unfollowed.
They unfollowed. What was that like for you going through? I mean, like,
I thought it was pretty funny. You know, I was like, really? This whole time? Like 8 years? You know, like,
keep going back.
Yeah.
like
it's
really not friends?
Comment
what's
on
the
everything
term? There's a
before.
term on Reddit. They call them beta male orbiters.
That's funny.
No,
right?
Yeah.
It's what it was. It was just like, oh, you're so great, awesome stuff, like whatever, like neutral comments. You know what I mean? To like, whatever. And I was like, these guys are not your friends. Like they're just, you know what I mean? They're planting seeds and hoping someday that it'll sprout.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because I've always been like super naive. Like there's so many times where I end up on a date and I was like, this is a date? And I thought you just said you wanted to grab coffee. They're like, yeah, like a date. I'm like, that's a date? I thought you would say it's a date, you know? Yeah. So I was just always pretty aloof. And
it's not just you though. I think that's a very common dynamic of relationships between guys and girls. Even me, like growing up in high school, I don't think it's necessarily impossible for guys and girls to be friends, but I do think more often than not, there has to be some sort of hidden motive there. And as upsetting as it is,
there's got to be a ratio, right? Maybe like 20% of friendships could be genuine.
Yeah.
Maybe 80%, like the majority are probably not.
Yeah, I would say
it's possible.
Being a bit generous.
But you think 90-10?
Look,
that much. Only 10%.
This is just my personal anecdotal experience. You know, like I think
that's tough.
Yeah, and it's not just you; it's just girls in general. They can be oblivious to that stuff, and that's just.
I did not have friend girls. Like I barely had friends, so like let alone like if I'm gonna actually hang out with anyone, it's gonna be a dude. Like I'm, you know what I mean? Like if I actually just want to like chill and relax, like it's what I'm gonna do.
If you were to give a ratio, what would you say? I would say 85. I'll meet in the middle here. 85, 15. So 15% could be genuine.
Sure, I'll do 85 is pretty good. 85, 90.
What would you give it?
That sounds about right. I mean, like for me,
Okay.
I mean, and to be fair, there are probably, and I want to be clear, there are probably some guys who somehow managed to do it. Me personally, I was never a guy friend, which is why her comment was so funny to me. Because I was like, never once in my entire life, because I'm also a very clear communicator. So I was like, here are my intentions with you. Like, they're not pure in nature. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be with you. And that's how, in no uncertain terms, I made my intentions clear because I also didn't want the bullshit. So if someone's like, oh, I don't see that way, I'm like, cool. Like, not trying to be friends. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, the amount of times where I was just like, I'm not friend material. Like, that is not why I'm here. You know what I mean? It was like, I was just very explicit. And some people like that, and some people didn't, and that's fine. Either way, that's me. So anyways, this is I probably projected a little bit of like my own, like, I don't have friends who are girls onto her, but in this instance, I have been right, which was confirming. But as a guy, to shift back to the original question, did things change when you got married?
Right.
One, obviously all the side combos stop. And then for me, there was actually a huge amount of like noise that like disappeared because like, especially when I was single, like I would say the majority of my time and attention went to like girls. Like, and like, you know what I mean? Like in terms of just headspace, like texting, organizing dates, trying to, you know what I mean? Like a lot of my mental bandwidth, even if it wasn't hours, but like in between time went to that. And the moment we got married, it was like all of this attention of like something else could happen was just gone. And then it was just us and this business. And then, I mean, then it just like, it ripped, you know what I mean? Like that's when we went from making a few $100,000 a month to a few million a month, like 12 months later. Like it was just like, we were both like, you're in, I'm in, let's go. And that was like, and then it was like, we're both able to attract other people. You know what I mean? And so just having that security and that knowledge, like you're my person for the foreseeable future. It just washed away all of this attention that came back to focusing on the main thing.